Okay, well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm glad that you all could make it. So let's just get straight into it, shall we? Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the American romantic musical comedy Singing in the Rain, released in 1952 and directed by Gene Kelly, who also starred in it, and Stanley Donen. And starring Debbie Reynolds, who I believe was the main character. Right, Rob. That's an interesting take. We'll get back to that. And also starring Donald O'Connor and Jean Hagen. Plus Sid Charisse and Rita Moreno, who is actually still alive, by the way. She played Lena's friend, who ratted out Kathy and caused all that trouble at the end. Well, you're right, Mike. Rita Moreno was cast by Kelly, and she later praised Kelly for casting her in a non-stereotypical Hispanic role. Now, this film was a modest hit when it was released in 1952, and is now considered one of the greatest musicals of all time. And Gene Kelly's Singing in the Rain dance sequence is seen as one of the best performances that has ever been filmed. Now, this brings us all to our first discussion point. How does this 5-minute dance sequence encapsulate the overall film? Any ideas? Well, it begins with Don saying goodnight to Kathy at her door, which, in my opinion, shows how important Kathy was to the idea that Don's career was saved by her. And that's why he could sing, "I'm happy again." He's happy because the dark clouds of his career, being tanked by Lena's awful voice, have lifted thanks to Kathy's singing ability. Even though it's figuratively raining on him, and literally, as he's out in the street, he can be upbeat about it all, now that Kathy has showed up. That's a good point, Rob. And when the cop glares at him for dancing in the puddles, Don sings an explanation. "I'm singing and I'm dancing in the rain." I think the cop is like the judgmental audience who viewed the preview of the first talkie with Lena, the dueling cavalier, and then wondered, "What are you doing?" And Don is answering. They're revamping the film into a musical with singing and dancing. And Don is happy because he believes it will work. What is the connection with the end bit, where Kathy and Lena are also singing in the Rain? Where Kathy is singing behind the curtain and Lena is just pretending to sing. See? That's what I'm talking about. Kathy is so important to this story. She's pretending to be Lena's voice, though Lena doesn't know it during the filming. And at the end, Kathy is singing in the rain. But it's different from Don's happy singing during his troubles. Kathy's troubles, or gloomy times, is that her career is being held back and stymied because of Lena's contract. But Kathy is still forced to sing. She has to sing in the symbolic rain of her career being shut down by Lena. Kathy has to live a pretend life. Yet, at the same time, it was Kathy who helped Don stop living a pretend life. She told him he wasn't a great actor because of his press, and that is what got him back to his roots of singing and dancing. Of course, that idea was partly Cosmo's also. I see what you're saying. And there is this idea that if you sing in the rain, everything will work out. Because as Kathy was singing in the rain of her oppression by Lena, the curtain then lifted and her talent was revealed. With the help of Don, who then yelled out to the audience to reveal the fact that she was actually the real singer in this film. So Kathy helped Don, and then Don then returned the favor. So it's like, if you're true to yourself, even in the difficult situations, everything will work out. Sort of like Rita Moreno didn't get discouraged about trying to make it in Hollywood and on stage, even though she was born in Puerto Rico. And I think the whole dancing sequence, it's popular because it's a visual symbolization of keeping your head up even when life is trying to beat you down. There's an above shot of Don's face turned up, and he's smiling and singing, "Come on with the rain, I've got a smile on my face," as the rain pours down on him. And there's another shot of him standing underneath the rain spout as the water gushes down onto him. And at the end, he meets a man with no umbrella, his neck tucked down into his collar, trying to keep warm and somewhat dry as he hurries home. And then Don gives him his umbrella because he doesn't need that outside protection. His upbeat attitudes and actions of dancing and changing the direction of the film are helping him battle that adversity. I agree with you, Paul, that people do find a lot of positive symbolism in the dance sequence. But I also think that dance itself is so engaging. all of the intricate tap steps in the slippery water, and the joyfulness of splashing and jumping in the puddles in his good clothes, not his exercise wear. It shows a carefreeness that people long for. The camera work and lighting are also really nice. I read that it was backlighting that made the rain look so real, and the idea that it was actually milk instead of water is just an inaccurate myth. Good to know. Thanks, Rob. And that reminds me I've got to stop at the food market on my way home. Oh, it looks like it's getting late. Now this was a solid discussion, and I think good points were made. If there's nothing else, I'll see you all at our next meeting.